Political courage. In addition to establishing the corporate income tax, Askew was on the leading edge of some of the most important issues in history: student busing to achieve racial balance in public schools, an overhaul of Florida's antiquated court system, and establishment of what's known today as Forever Florida, the state's purchase of environmentally sensitive land. But in the era of Watergate, Askew is best known for his exhaustive pursuit of ethics in government.
A guy comes in and he says, well, we're prepared to do the same thing that we've done previously. And he said, what was that and who are you? I'm the guy who does contract work for the Department of Transportation. We do the engineering studies, and that way we get paid by the state in substantial sums of money. And we're prepared to do the same thing we've done previously. What is that? Say we're prepared to pay 5% back to y'all for what the state pays us. And Jim Apthorpe and I both sat there in amazement, and Jim told him, he said, it doesn't work that way anymore. And that man would not believe he was prepared to go up on his offer because he thought somebody else had already bought Governor Askew, and that he just didn't understand that this was going to be done on the basis of merit rather than on the basis of money.
Governor Askew would hold elected leaders to a new standard, establishing financial disclosure laws and other reforms that are part of what we take for granted today: government in the sunshine.
I had filed copies of my income tax return a few years before I ran for governor, so that when I announced for governor, I filed income tax reports, I think for 2 or 3 years behind. And every year when I was governor, I filed copies of income tax return, because I wanted the people to see what I was about. Now that's, in a sense, that's an extraordinary invasion of someone's privacy, even a public office holder. And I've got some very good friends who strongly disagree with me on the issue. But fortunately, by 3 to 1, the people of Florida agreed with me that they'd like to know, where the money's coming from. When you have position of responsibility, are you going to use it or are you going to abuse it?
A Harvard University study would name Askew one of the most effective governors of the 20th century, alongside Woodrow Wilson and Theodore Roosevelt. He went on to serve in the Carter administration as United States Trade Ambassador before running for president himself in 1984. Later, Askew turned to his true love, the classroom. Academic programs at both FSU and the University of Florida bear his name, and Askew would eventually teach at each of the state's universities.
I require my students to sign on their honor how much of the reading material they've actually read. And there were times when just after they'd filled them in, I'd remind them, and I'd say, if your integrity doesn't mean anything to you, if your name doesn't mean anything to you, if the reputation doesn't mean, then put whatever you want to put on it. But if it means what I think it means to you, put what you actually read. And you would, invariably, I'd get copies of papers where they'd scratched out the original thing and put in another one.
What can we expect them to think?
In 1972, when Askew delivered the keynote address at the Democratic National Convention in Miami, the FBI gave him a special code name. It resonates with everyone in the FSU family who has come to know and love the can-do kid, the one-time student body president who grew up to become FSU's alumnus of the 20th century, and the namesake for an award to which tomorrow's can-do kids can aspire. It is my distinct honor this morning to present the initial minting of the Reuben Askew Young Alumni Award Medal to its namesake, Governor Askew.
Thank you very much. It's hard to know what to say. FSU has been my life. I met my wife here And now people say, well, did you date her while you were out there? I said, it would have been unseemly. She was in junior high school. But I can't tell you how much this university has been in my life and her life. She's a graduate as well. I had the extraordinary opportunity to really travel with Donna Lou as we visited, and I taught personally at all 10 public universities in Florida. But I always come back to the one. And I've taught to a lot of them, but I tell you, there's nothing like Florida State University in our household as it is to you. And one of the great things about homecoming, because I don't like getting up early in the morning. It's no secret. And Jim Milton first asked me to do this. But this banquet is about homecoming. It's about what we produce, just as it produced me. You know, because I got elected president of the student body in 1950, and 20 years later I was elected governor, which was sort of a rapid rise. But I got my politics here running for president of the student body on the platform of later hours for women. I mean, who in the world would have opposed that other than the administration? But I've enjoyed practicing law. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that the two of us, because it's really a partnership, just as Molly is understanding, and she's very much on a job she undertook, not just in the capacity, and how lucky we are to have the Barons ahead in this university. We are just fortunate, and I just want to tell them how proud we are basically of them for the good job he did of giving us an outstanding provost. And I enjoyed my public service to the extent that one can, because to tell you the truth, I was one time was investigating half of the high officials in Florida, and it was really not very much fun. We had 3 cabinet members that I thought really were doing things they shouldn't have, 3 Supreme Court members, you know, and we wound up really with replacing 3 cabinet members and replacing three members of the Supreme Court. But life is about integrity. I tell my students that over and over and over, you know, to sink in. But what's been the love of my life is that I'm finishing up 22 years of teaching in the university system, and thanks to a great former president, Sandy D. Allenbert. I mean, 17 of them 18 have been here at Florida State. So I thank everybody at the Alumni Association for this high honor. Frankly, I'm somewhat overwhelmed, but I look at the thing behind it, Scott, and I commend all of those, because it's the young people we look to. And when I see people who have meant so much to this institution, like Kitty Hoffman, and it's just really, it's overwhelming. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We all love FSU. Thank you.
Governor Donna Lou, thank you very, very much. When we talked to President Barron about this new award, he got very excited, and he helped us imagine in the spring how this event would look. And he said, you're going to want to make it a really nice affair. You want these young alumni to come back, be able to have a table with their parents and their dean, and and faculty members who were important to their academic lives. That's going to cost some money, so what you ought to think about doing is establishing an endowment that'll produce income each year to pay for that event. And he said, me and Molly want to be the first ones to help you with that endowment. And Eric and Molly Barron pledged $25,000. And then they went down and spent a weekend with Guy and Dolores Spearman. Guy, of course, worked for the governor. And he told them about this idea. Guy and Dolores gave $25,000. I'd like them to all stand right now and be recognized for that. Dolores, President Molly Barron. We're almost halfway to our goal now, so if you're interested in being part of that, just talk to us about it after the event. And Tommy Wright, we have a football game to play tonight, and I can think of only one way to get everybody ready for that football game. If you perhaps would play the song that you penned 61 years ago that we plan on hearing a lot of tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Tommy Wright and the Fight Song. Tommy, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful morning. Thanks for being with us. Have a great homecoming, and go Noles!